what would that process look like? And I said, well, it depends what kind of wedding do you want? The $20,000 wedding. And immediately she said, that's a house. So I was like, yes, Lord.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Whether you've been married 1 or 20 plus years, at some point, you realized you were married into crazy.
And that's what our podcast is all about. We offer love, laughter, and a dose of reality as we unpack this crazy thing called marriage.
So sit back, relax, and get your ear hustle on. It's time to start the conversation.
All right, let's go.
Yo, what's up? It's your boy E.T. Look, if you're looking to or you got to raise the bar on your marriage, you gotta click the link and get into Married into Crazy, y'all. I'm telling you, this coaching is gonna take your relationship to another level. Now look, you already know you need to raise the bar. You know that already. So stop thinking or overthinking. Click that link, and Marriage into Crazy is gonna take you and your spouse to marital bliss. Now you know. Click the button. Let's go.
Welcome to another episode of the Married into Crazy podcast with Snooks and Lovey. I'm Lovey.
I'm Snooks.
And we hope that everyone's had an amazing holiday season, whatever you're celebrating. Today is the first day of Kwanzaa. It's the day after Christmas. We hope you had a wonderful Christmas. For those of you that celebrate Hanukkah, hope you're having a great Hanukkah. But the bottom line is, every holiday that we talk about, it's about family. It's about love. It's about coming together. And we are committed to sharing a variety of different versions, variations, takes on that love, that coming together. And I just want to say we're happy to say that we have an amazing couple that we've rescheduled 13,000 times. And it's not just on our guest fault. I mean, we've rescheduled. It's been going back and forth. Life is busy. But we bring you couples that make time in this busy life for each other. And so today we want to welcome Loren and Sharmaine Wilder.
Hey.
Hey, guys.
Yeah.
Hello.
Well, it's great to have you. Great to be on the show for sure. As you just remember, yeah, exactly.
Hey, man. Hey, look, I appreciate it. So, we're never really big in intros, like, okay, and reading a bio on the individuals. I always leave it to the individuals to kind of say, because when we read stuff, it's generally, what everybody says, these are all the things. It's really like a laundry list of all the things we've accomplished. But when we let our guests kind of introduce themselves, what's important to them truly comes out.
That's
so
good.
I'd love for you two to kind of introduce yourselves to the audience and tell us a little bit about who, Lo and Sharmaine are.
So let me just say this before you guys get started. I like to ask questions, so I might interrupt you because I need more detail. So I'm just giving you that disclaimer that I might be like, okay, hold on, back up a little bit and tell me more about. So go ahead.
All right. Yes, Sharmaine Wilder. I'm a wife, a mother, a woman of faith. By profession, I am a licensed mental health counselor. And that's me.
PhD, Dr. Wilder. It's new, but she likes to be humble about it. I'm like, you got your PhD now, babe. So, Dr. Wilder. Let me reintroduce.
Yes, we don't leave that out. Let me do my snap. We don't leave that out. Yes. Come lose this.
Loren Wilder. Everybody knows me as Lo. And so I am a father, a husband, and I am a sales professional. And I'm doing wonderful things in the community. I just have a heart, a passion for helping at Promise youth discover their raw potential so that they can achieve at a high level. And I just love my wife, my son, and we're just here in Atlanta, Georgia. So pretty much that's who we are, and man of faith as well. So
good. Now, you know what? Two things. Number one, Lo, I love how you said at Promise youth.
I picked that up too. I like that too.
Yeah.
The the world needs to pick up on that, because what we speak power. And we can speak power into negative things, and we can speak power into positive things. And I love how you said "at promise."
Yeah,
I'm gonna steal
absolutely,
that.
man.
I'm just saying, I'm writing it
Yeah,
down.
shout outs to my mentor in the Game Changers program, because at risk youth, that's the term that a lot of people use, but you know, these young students have so much promise and so much purpose inside. So allowed me to help work on that. So yeah, it's definitely a better view and speaking life to them for sure.
Absolutely.
I love it. I
You know,
love it.
and that it's funny because I'm Dr. Wilder. We're gonna put that out there. So, Dr. Wilder, with you being a mental health professional, what is your particular focus? Because I know there's a variety of different directions you can go when it comes to mental health.
I have a wide range. I work with young folks as well as adults, so I don't have a particular niche. So I have a wide array of different clientele that I would normally see. Before the little one came along, normally it'd be younger adults and younger kids that I would see.
Interesting. You know, we just had another mental health professional on, and talking about like SAD, right? The seasonal affective disorder, and some of the disparity between, you know, the happy times we celebrate Christmas and everyone's happy and joyous, and but it's also a season of depression for many as well, where it becomes really prominent. So it's really interesting. I did not know that you were in that profession. We're gonna have you on later on as a in-house professional.
That's it.
So I'm gonna beat Snooks to the punch. So you're an ATL. We want to know, how did you two meet each other? How did Sharmaine and Loren become Mr. and Mrs. Wilder?
Go ahead.
I'll tell the story. All right. So very interesting. A few years ago, a friend of mine reached out to me. I was watching football, man, Sunday football, just hanging out. And I got a text, and he was like, "Hey, I want to set you up on this blind date." And I was like, "Man, I'm really not interested in doing that right now." But as I'm just contemplating there, just kind of going back and forth on, you know, how do I want to respond to this text message, I just felt something in my spirit said, "Go ahead, you know, take this chance." So her sister and my friend came together and set us up on a date. You know, two professionals, you know, single, and just really good people. And as many people know, when you're out there and you're doing everything right, it's kind of hard to date because you can't, you know, you're not sure who people are. And so anyhow, we set up a blind date, and we met at Carrabba's. And right off the bat, we just connected, and the conversation, we were just talking about this over the holidays.
Yeah.
The conversation was just so high level. We were having conversations that people typically have 6 months, a year down the road. And I just felt really, really good about her. And so, yeah, we got set up on that, and then went on many dates after that. But we got the interesting thing is after what, a couple of weeks?
Yeah, well, let me say this
yeah,
too, because it was my first blind date.
Mine too.
You know, I was heavily in the church, active in the community, you know, busy as a single woman, embracing my singleness. And so casual dating wasn't me. I didn't believe in dating just to date. I believe in the value of time. So I was very intentional about time that I invested. So my sister proposed a blind date. I knew I could trust her because the character of my sister. So there was a whole vetting process that she put him through. And so when we had our first date, you know, I look at body language like the whole nine, because you could talk a good talk, and I'm not worried about what you're talking, because words are words, right? If it's just words. So I was looking at the body language, his posture. As he was speaking, I could tell that there was something of substance with him that was worth my time and intention. And our dates weren't just, okay, what's a nice restaurant, or, oh, this is a nice movie. We were having those tough difficult conversations and topics that need to be discussed.
Yeah.
You know, what is your credit score? What is your where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? What are your values? Getting to know this person. And so those were the topics and discussions that we were having on these dates that typically people take years to have.
And let me now kind of speak lightly about the vetting process. Listen, her sister was like thorough. I thought I was like interviewing for a government job. I was like, so that's what really intrigued me. I'm like, okay, this woman must be special because I've never been asked these variety of questions, and so I knew right then and there, like, okay, this is going to be interesting. And like she said, the conversations was just again high level. Spiritually, we were speaking, from the spiritual, from our future goals, and we talked about real estate, business, all of that. And I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous with the credit score. And I thought
your credit score is your character score.
Okay?
It's
true, yeah, which is true. Now, and I was well over 700, but
yeah, I
was nervous. Like I was like, man, hopefully I'm not an 850, right? So, and so yeah, we connected, and it was a good vibe. And one day I'm in prayer, and I heard the Lord speak to me and said, I have delivered your wife. And I thought that was interesting because for me, before this, it was like I needed a 5-year process, like of vetting myself to make sure like this is going to be my wife. And basically the Holy Spirit was like, that's not going to happen. Okay. If you think you got 5 years, she's gone. And
if
so,
you need 5 years to determine if I'm your wife, I'm not your wife.
Not your wife. So I knew then and there I had to switch it up and trust him, but also to be mature and to take a leap of faith. And so as I had this, conviction, I wanted to share with her. And then she had a dream that she wanted to share the dream that I was her husband. And so we were like, wow, this is after a few weeks of dating. And so I told her, I said, well, I know you're my wife, so I know I'm going to marry you. And so she started asking like, okay, well, what would that process look like? And I said, well, it depends what kind of wedding do you want? The $20,000 wedding. And immediately she said, that's a house. So I was like, yes, Lord. So yeah, we went to Zales. She picked out the ring. And we got engaged.
This is the upgrade.
Yeah, that's the upgrade. Yeah, we went and got the ring a few weeks after dating and got married 4 months from our first date. So I believe from the conversation we had, we got y'all beat.
Oh, hands down.
Funny. That is no wonder he was like, yeah, just wait till
wait till you hear the story.
4 months, okay, you got engaged. Yeah, we'll clap for that. Just wait till you're ours.
No,
okay,
we were at the altar in 4 months.
That's amazing.
Yeah, married. Yeah.
I will say this, that if she checked my credit score at the time, we wouldn't be here now. And if your credit score is your character score, that's valid, because back then, there was some character development that was taking place.
I was about to say, but over time, it
well, y'all were younger too, weren't you? Like you were 26. A little bit younger. Yeah. So we were
at our age. I
was 33, 30, 33. She was 37.
Yeah. So certain phases in life you should have grown and evolved, especially, at that age. So, if he's at that age and single and can't manage him as one person, you can't manage a wife and a family. That's at least my perspective at that time. In your 20s, you're still coming into yourself.
Listen, if she would have met me at 26, we wouldn't be here right now.
I don't think I was ready either.
Yeah, everything's about timing.
It is.
It's definitely about timing. And again, you have to go out there. A lot of people are
God's timing.
They're afraid to take them chances because of previous experiences. And so for us, we were like, when you talk about love and you talk about marriage, you're really gonna have to get out of your comfort zone and be vulnerable and being open to change, because you become one. It's a lot of adjustments there, but you definitely have to trust the process.
Also, I think in our culture, it's so easy to get caught up in superficial stuff. We're so I don't want to sound church like and say carnal minded, but we look so much on the outside. We invest so much on the outside, and if we took some of that time that we invest on the outer appearance and take that same investment on the inner person, I think some relationships can be healthier. I think we're just so focused on the wrong things that really is not conducive for a healthy, long-lasting relationship.
I agree with that. It is so funny that you say that. Not really funny, but it's like the first time you say, "Oh, I met someone," or the first question that someone typically asks is, what did they look like? What were they wearing? What kind of car do they drive? I mean, all the exterior, like you were saying, the superficial things,
Yeah.
So I think that's great that you bring that up. And also, I love how both of you were even obedient in listening, the discernment that you had, because you could have passed the dream off as it's a coincidence. Or you could have thought, oh, maybe I didn't hear that, I think I'm not even sure that, I know I've said it before, but when Lovey and I, when we met, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna marry this guy, but I was still in that space where I don't feel like wasting my time, because I feel these things, but what if it's a waste of time? And I was at work and I went over to my friend's desk and I was like, let's just pray real quick, because I want to make sure that this is right. So everything that I prayed about, when I came back to my desk, he had called and left me a message on the phone, and he addressed everything that I said in my prayer. I was like, okay, all right, Lord, I heard you the third time,
Right.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
God, I bugged her desk, so I knew she was. No, but it's what's really cool is that you two. When I say you two, I'm talking about Sharmaine and Rana. You had people rocking for you. You went to your girlfriend to sit there and have a conversation about, let's pray. Yes, you had a prayer warrior that was going to stand in the gap for you and pray with you and over you and for you. And you're talking about your sister that was in the vetting process, that was vetting low. And that's a very important point that I hope the audience is picking up on, that you need to surround yourself with individuals that aren't just going to be there. A lot of times, we're going to the club, or we're going to go here and whatever, we're going to meet some people. And they were very intent on making sure that their sister in Christ, their sister in biology, their sister in love, just wanted to look out for you and made sure that they were rocking not just with you, but for you.
Right.
Yeah, and to expound on that, I think it's important to take, self-inventory, self-assessment, not only of yourself, but then also assessment of those around you. Look at the caliber of individuals that you are attracted to and that are attracted to you. And if you find certain deficiencies in them, it's probably in you too. What is being attracted to you? What are you attracted to? So that's something that I think is important for every individual to really look at your circle. What are the caliber of individuals you consider as friends,
right,
or your support? And really do an assessment. Does that align with where you see yourself in the future? Is that what you want to be? Is that who you are or who you want to be? So I think that's important.
No, that's good.
The doctor just wrote a prescription, y'all. I'm just saying.
That's it. That's it.
Hey, some of the stuff our parents told us, it's funny, we always say, oh, darn, I just said something, I sound like my mom, or I sound like my dad. I mean, they really did tell us. I mean, I think all of us in some fashion or form heard, show me your friends and I'll show you who you'll become.
Right, right.
And you got these motivational speakers talking about, show me the 5 people you hang around with, and I'll show you where you're going to grow to when it comes to business, finances, what have you, because you're only going to be the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
that's very true when it comes to marriage, and even after marriage.
Mhm.
You know, the circle that you have around you. Do you got people that are rocking for your marriage, or you got, you know, for the covenant, or do you have people that are just like, oh, I'm down for low because we go way back, and
Right.
if his girl's tripping, then you know I got his back.
Yeah.
That's not the kind of, I mean, everybody needs a ride or die, but that's not the kind of ride or die you need. You need somebody that says like, yo, me and Lo go way back, and if he starts
A
tripping
little tripping right now. So
when it comes to marriage, I'm gonna check him.
Right. Right. No, that's true. That's absolutely true. And it's funny because you start to take the inventory of those that you're surrounding yourself with and asking, like, you know, I remember when we were writing down the guest list for the wedding, and I was like, yeah, there. I realized there that okay, these people aren't going to be, you know, the people that I'm writing and I'm inviting to the wedding are those that I see myself having a future with, right? Those friends that I know we're going to be able to have them over. Like we recently just had some of my best men and my groomsmen here with their wives and their kids when we hosted them a few weeks back. Those are the people and the relationships that we're going to have. So yeah, that's key. That's key. And hopefully the audience is listening to that. Like, make sure you surround yourself with people that have the same values, same principles as you, or things that you aspire to become.
And it's okay if you have to walk through a season alone until God sends those right people.
That's it.
Because sometimes you do need that season to be alone to work on oneself. Sometimes, you know, as individuals, we feel like, you know, we can't do this by ourselves. We can't go here by ourselves. We need someone around us, but love yourself. It's okay. In my singleness, listen, when I would go to the restaurant, they're like, how many you party? One? Yes, just one. I was comfortable with me.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's okay to embrace those seasons when you're one.
Yeah.
When it's just you, an individual, till God bring those right connections along.
That's true.
See, I love that. I think a lot of our single people, because we have a lot of people that are single that are listening, or that are in that stage of they have a significant other, but they haven't quite turned that corner yet. And I think that's just sage advice. And you both remind me of one of my favorite lyrics by Chance the Rapper. You know, I don't want you at, you know, if you can't be there, I don't want you at my wedding if you're not going to be there for my marriage. And I think that just speaks volumes about, again, creating that, what we call an iron tribe. You know, you go to Proverbs 27:17, and it talks about, you know, as iron sharpens iron. We think as iron sharpens iron, we as couples should sharpen each other as well.
That's it.
It's good.
It's real good.
So tell me, what about marriage? How do I ask this question? So what is it about marriage that you've learned about yourselves? Does that right? Okay.
Yeah, you go first.
When I was single, it was good to have the strong, independent, I'm good by myself. I could do this by myself. When I transitioned into being a wife, into that covenant, no one told me that type of mindset or perspective would be toxic, you know, in a marriage.
As Ernie sips on his
So I had to go through that process of being refined and knowing that it's okay to be vulnerable. I don't have to be strong all the time. I could fall back and let my husband take the lead because I was so used to taking the lead, doing this, doing that. So I had to learn that place of being refined in our relationship and just not having to be so dominant and so strong. And that was a process. That was really a process that I had to really allow the Lord to really remake me. That process where the two becomes one, that becoming is truly a process over time. And so that is something that I had to learn about me in our relationship as a marriage.
She was a strong Black woman. Strong.
Hey, strength recognize strength.
Hey, that's it. And at times I was like, Lord, this woman you've given me. But For me, it was really about really understanding where she was and what she needed. And I had to adjust to that as well, because I was someone who was like, it's my way, it's my way. And so I learned a lot about myself. And another thing she helped me realize as well was just having emotional intelligence. Because there was a lot of things that I would just brush to the side and not really understand how I was feeling or what that situation, what it really did to me. So I really learned a lot about emotional intelligence and started to get more in tune with what I was going through and my feelings, right? And so, and now that I am aware of that, I can love better. I can be a better husband. I can be a better father. I can be a better leader because I am, in tune with that. So, and it also helped me even in my profession. And I realized there was things that I was learning at home that now I can implement at work. So, and that's balanced me out and made me better. So
that's good.
Yeah,
that's really good.
That's good.
It just makes me think about how, there's that old book, men are from Mars, women are from Venus, and it talks about certain things that I think are quite valid. But when it comes to the male masculinity, you're talking about, you had to get in touch with your emotional intelligence. And I have to, because I know that my shortcoming when we got married was that I was a pleaser, right? I was trying to please everyone around, keep everybody happy. But in doing that, there's a shallowness that goes along with that. And I just think that we get away with, men so often get away with being shallow because we have these base emotions, anger, happy, celebration, whatever, but it's that, and we keep it moving. We always like to, men in general have a tendency to brag about how, me and my boys, we can get into a fight and then the next minute we're good. Whereas the women, you get into something, it's going to take some months to repair whatever just went down.
Process it.
Right. And we'd be like, whatever. But it's because we don't really get into the depths of the emotions and understanding and the things that are required for us to be there emotionally for our spouses. And what?
It's so funny how, over time we grow, we evolve, we change. And when Lovey was saying that, I was just like, dang, Lovey from 26 years ago would probably pass out at Lovey right from now, because he don't try to please nobody now. He's like, ID. What? Okay, no, this is what we doing.
Right.
I learned to operate my strength.
Right. That superpower, you tapping in.
No, but I think it's beautiful because it's about evolution, right? And I love that you had such an in-depth conversation up front when it came to your relationship. Even before, there was no relationship. It was a discovery process.
Yeah,
exactly.
But it's funny how those seeds that were being planted have allowed you to really flourish and grow.
The other part about that too, I could speak to you, Sharmaine, as far as like where you were coming from, that being independent, being very strong, being self reliant, that was one of the things that our challenge in the very beginning too. I tell everyone I was raised by a single woman. My mom did not teach me. I did not see what being a wife looked like. It was always ingrained in me. You have your own. You don't depend on anyone, and So I wore that with like a purse, a jacket, and some gloves. It's not all easy, But I think that is important to hear how not allowing yourself to be vulnerable, to trust your husband. Because at the end of the day, for me, I think I realized that it was more about me being able to trust that, number one, he's going to make the right decision, or number two, he's going to make the decision that I want him to make. We have to be able to shed that before it causes harm in our marriage. Lovey takes a lot of responsibility for the things that happen early. But I tell him, I say, as I matured, I realized that, dang, I had a huge part to play in how we got to the event of year 4, So it's just really, like you said, I hope people are listening. Be okay with trusting and opening up. And we look at that word, especially I feel like for Black women, we don't do submission very well because the way that submission was taught to me was I'm submissive. That means I'm subservient. And, you're the master over me. You do what I say. And it was always kind of projected that way. But
Right.
as we said before, it's never anything like that. When you're in a relationship and you're in together, the we-ness that is love and be loved is not slave and master or anything like
Right.
that. So if we could get that early, I think we would be about 5 steps ahead of
Yeah.
common folk. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
those are good
But
points.
with that too, obviously you have to make sure that you're with the right person.
Exactly.
Because some people can take that and abuse it in the way that you're saying. So that's why I think the vetting is important. So if you're single right now, you're dating, be intentional when you're dating. Don't just date casually, and making sure that you're asking those questions. Now, I remember someone gave me some sound advice early in my single days and said, if there's something that is bothering you now, it's only going to magnify over the course of time. And so making sure that you're clear with whatever it might be, you get it out the way, because that can be something you find out year 4 or 5 of marriage and you're like, man, it's a deal breaker. So it's really important. And I'm just grateful that we were able to have those conversations. And that's when we knew, like, yep, this is my significant other. And we had to grow. At the time when she talked about her single days, I was enjoying my single days for sure, as far as working on myself, the naps. I was very involved in the community. I was in the Rotary Club, I was doing all these different things, and I had to scale back so that I can be a good partner. But what happened was, when you realize, like, this is the woman or this is the man that I want to marry, then those sacrifices and those things that you have to let go, they just happen. But again, you got to trust that you're with the right person.
Let me piggyback off that too, because, during that vetting process and that vetting stage, sometimes we like to ignore red flags, thinking, oh, maybe this will change down the road.
Or I can change that.
Or I can, that's it. Or I can change this person.
Yeah.
You have to know what your boundaries are, what your non-negotiables are. If those are ambiguous to you as an individual, then you can't really blame the other person for what you allow. So you have to know what you're willing to tolerate, what your non-negotiables are, what you're looking for, and be okay with that. And I'm talking about the core value of what makes a person an individual. If there are certain red flags, not keeping their word, not faithful, what are you willing to take? And so if you're seeing that in that dating stage, and that's what you want for as a long-term marriage, then
yeah.
So that's just something to consider.
Hey guys, this is Snooks. We hope that you've enjoyed listening to the first half of Wildin' Out with the Wilders. Make sure that you hit subscribe and come back next week to hear the second part. And until the next time, be blessed. Bye-bye.